Hi folks, how are you all doing today? Today, let's create a weather app, right? So if you just give your city name, it just gives you the weather, okay? Weather information basically. Whatever you want to get out of it, you can absolutely get uh, from it, right? So you just have to give the city name, that's all, to just get the location details, and also to get the temperature, to get the wind speed. There are so many other information which you can get out of this, right? So yeah, let's see and understand how to create such kind of a thing. Today you will be using a web API, because without a API we can't really fetch the weather data, because that's something related to satellite data, right? So that's why we need to have a web API for this. Okay. Before starting off with anything, I would just like to tell you all guys that if you're new here, please do subscribe to my channel, Folks Hub, right? And I have so many playlists, and there's so much of content which you can access, right? So please do go through. And yes, now let's get started with this session today, which is weather app, right? So starting off with this, before starting with the actual content, right? I would just like to tell you about web API. Okay. So a web API is nothing but it is the online link which you're going to use for get fetching the data, right? So what is this? What is an API? API is nothing but application programming interface. Okay. So it is something like, now, if you want some information to be got, right? So, how will you get that information is, first you will have to send a request to the API, right? Now, API on your app's behalf, it will send the request to the actual server, and it will get the data, right? So, in API, you will get the data now. So, that API data, which is given as the result, right? That is given to your app, okay? So it's something like, if you are going to a restaurant, you will order whatever you want to the waiter, right? Waiter will go to the kitchen and he will place your order on your behalf, right? So now whatever the food is prepared and ready, that will be again taken by the waiter, and waiter will come and give you the food which you have ordered, correct? This is what happens in a restaurant usually. So same way, now in the API also, whatever data you want, right, you want to fetch, you will request for API. API will request on your behalf. It will get the data, right? And that data is given to you from the API itself. So it's like it is acting like a third party kind of here. Okay. Not exactly, but you can consider that to be like a waiter here. Okay. In a restaurant, what a waiter does. So here also in your app, that thing your web API does. Okay. So when I say web API, that means it is online link, right? Online API which you're using. Okay. So now let's see how to use this and how to make the weather app, right? It is one of the very simple apps we are creating. So I'm just writing weather, and then let's just give a background color for our app. I think I'm gonna use this today, but a little lighter version of it. And then, yeah, so vertical alignment will be space around, because we just have to align all the components properly. And I think this is all for the screen, right? Then next thing we will be doing is, first we need a label so that we can just add the title. Let me just drag it and place it over here. So on this, I'll just rename and I'll say weather title label. So we can say get weather. I'll write 35. We can give any color. So I just want to give white color. And let's make it bold. You can change the font family also. So text style, and you can give font family. Let's say I'm just writing times, let this be. Then I want border, radius will be 4, color, white color border, solid is fine. Let's give top padding as 2 pixels, bottom padding 2 pixels, sorry, not 5, 2 pixels. Left will be 8, right will be 8. Perfect. It's getting the appropriate space now, right? The next one, so after the title label, I just want to take in the input box, okay? Because we have to get the data from the user itself. What type of data we are fetching from the user? We are getting the city name, okay? So that's why this will be city name label, text input, city text input, city text input. So type here, enter, enter city name, okay? So, and if you want to change any style, you can definitely do that. But yeah, I would just like to give the border. I think this is cool. Then next thing. So after the text input, we need a button because we need something to trigger, right? So definitely that's going to be the button. So it is the clickable component we have and we'll be using button. So on the button, so I would just like to say that this will be getting temperature. So get weather, we say. Get weather, not fet weather. Yeah, get weather button. Okay. So we'll say get temperature here. Get temperature. Right. And text color will be the same and font size will be same. Just background color would change. So I think I will choose this. Yeah, it's like in the same color palette, right? So and width will be 2, of course. Radius will be 5. Color will be white because like I'm just following the same pattern. That's it. Okay. Font bold, italic, and raised so that it looks neat and cool, right? Now, now we have all the components, yes, but we do not really have output component, correct? So we'll be just outputting the thing on a label only, okay? So let's just get a label and place it over here. So this label now will be getting the temperature. So this will be temperature label. So temp label or temperature label. Okay. So what I will do, or I'll just delete this temperature label. Delete. I'll duplicate this because I just want it in the same way, right? So why to struggle when you already have the one which is styled, correct? So I'll just drag this and place it under the weather button. Okay. I'll just change that this thing first. So this will be temperature label, okay? And instead of get weather, I'm not just gonna do anything over here. So let's give size 20. I think that's enough, okay? The rest of the things will remain. Yes, font style, I just wanna do italic because this is answer, right? I think everything is going to work fine so far. So this will get the temperature, right? Uh, right after completing this app, we'll see what next we can do. Okay. For now, I'm just going to fetch the temperature. Okay. And like I was discussing, we need invisible component, which is web API. So I'm just typing web here and you're getting this web API component. You just have to drag it and place it in the invisible section, right? Invisible component section, I mean. So web API here you will have to give the URL and that's it. It's going to work now. Okay. So now here I'm not providing the URL. Let's go to blocks and let's start coding. In that I will tell you how to actually give the things and all, right? So now let's just quickly go to blocks because we have completed the design successfully, right? First thing, I'll just create a variable called as URL. Okay. So because whenever you create a variable, it will be easily accessible for you and you can change it anytime, right? So that's why. Okay. And in URL, in our URL, we have multiple parts again. So that's why I just want to create a URL variable. And then when temperature button is clicked, right? So get weather button click. So when get weather button is clicked, what do we have to do? We have to request our web API, right? Web API will do the other thing, whatever it has to do, and it will fetch the data for us. That's it. Okay. So to do all these things, first thing we will be needing is so let's go to web API and we'll call web API's get method. Okay. So before calling the get method, we also have to set the URL, right? So set web API's URL to, right? So what will be the URL? I will tell you all guys. So today we are using Open Weather Map API. Okay, so we'll get that thing. How to get the API link and the API key and all. So I will be also letting you know about that information now, right? So this is going to be very much important because without the API and without the key, so you're not going to really get the output. Okay, so that's why this is very much important. So here we have open weather thing like this is actually a website where you can get the weather information, right? So this is the API, like these guys will provide you with the API link, okay, along with the API key. You just have to sign in into this and then do the process, right? So when you're just opening open weather, you will get some like the main page will be there. Okay, in that you'll have to just click on API, right? And you'll be redirected to something this like this kind of a page where, so if you just scroll down here, you will have current weather data API thing. So when you click on the API doc, you will be able to see this kind of current weather data API doc, right? Now, here you have the link, and but for this we need latitude value and longitude value, which we don't have. We only have the city name with us, right? So when you scroll down over here, there are some other links also. Here you can see API calls. Other API calls are like you can get the link here. You just have to give the city name and API key, app ID, right? So with these two information, you will get the output. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'll just copy this thing for getting the API key. So for getting the API key, what you will have to do is you will have to like log in into this one, open weather, right? And then you will get the API link here. When you just right click over this and when your account is created, right? When you right click over this or click on this, then it will redirect you a page where you have the API key. For security reasons, I'm not sharing my API key. Okay, you have to generate the API key on your own. Okay, so I'm just pasting the link over here. Like we were discussing here, so like you can see inside the query, we have the city name. Okay. So we have to give the city name, right? So what is this Q equal to is Q means query here, right? So in the query, we are just involving city name, right? And it's going to search the weather information from this API, from this link. Okay. So now, and also we have to give the key. Without the key, APIs can't be accessed because every API will have some unique ID. Okay. And that unique ID we have to give. If not, it can't really get, take the request and get the data or fetch the data for you. Okay. So API key is a must. Okay. So we just have to pass the city name and give this. That's it. Right. It's going to work hereafter. What we can do is, now I just pasted the link. Now I have to give the city name and API key also, right? So for that, I just want another string. So I'll just click on this mutator block. Actually, this is the mutator block. Join block is a mutator block. When you say mutator block, that means you can actually drag something and add it into this, right? You can add how many ever blocks you want, those many, right? So what I'll do, I'll just add one item. So you got this here. From where are you getting the city name? You're getting the city name from city text input, right? So just click on it and get this city text inputs text. Okay, so add it over here, right? So here we'll have to put the other part of the link like this one, and app ID equal to, right? So I'll just copy this, I'll paste it over here. And here we will have to provide the API key. Okay. So I'm not showing the API key, right? So I'll just let this be like this for now. Afterwards, we'll fetch the data and we'll see. Okay. So I'll paste it afterwards. But for now, I'm just letting this be like this. Now we have completed the URL thing and we are giving it inside the web URL, right? So instead of doing it something like this, you can actually use the variable which we have created. So set app variable URL. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just write small letters over here. So set app variable URL to the join block here, right? And then go to variables, get this app variable URL, small letters thing. Okay, because the other URL for the other app I already have used, so that's why I'm using small letters here. Okay, you need not use small letters, you can give capital letters also, no issues. So here we are setting the URL, right? The complete URL will be in this variable now, and that variable value I'm giving it to the web API's URL. Okay, so this will give the, I mean, uh, just send the request to the server, right? And from the server it will get the response, and that get thing is done by this get method, web API's get method, right? So now where do we have to show the response? So here is the response whichever it is getting, right? Inside the response we have the complete JSON data. Okay, so it will fetch the data in the form of a JSON value, right? Like I'll show you one example over here, or I think just below this you should get that. Okay, here are different API calls. So let's scroll up and just, yeah. So this is how the data will be fetched. The API response will be something like this. Okay, here till here. So all this, the complete information is the thing which is gonna get given as the output, right? You will be getting this as the output basically. Okay, so you can fetch all these informations, like you can fetch the wind speed. Okay, you can fetch the clouds information, you can fetch sunset and sunrise information, time zone basically, right? So you can also get the weather information, description and all, coordinates you can get, temperature also you can get. Okay, so temperature basically will be in Fahrenheit. If you want, you can convert it into Celsius using the formula. Okay, now so this is all it is going to fetch, right? We are only fetching temperature information, sorry, this one, right? So let's do that and place it inside the temperature label basically. So set temperature labels text to, okay, the response, but we don't want the response directly, right? Like you saw, response means this big response it will give you. We don't want the complete thing, we only want this temp thing, right? That is which is inside the main, we have the temp value. Okay, so that's why what I'm doing, go to objects over here, get property of object you have to use. So what is the property name here? Just go bottoms up. Okay, first temp, then main, right? So here I will write temp. Okay, again go to way objects and get property of object. So from where are you getting this? From main, right? So inside this, what exactly we are getting? Get object from the JSON. JSON means JavaScript object notation, right? So we'll discuss more about JSON in our next sessions. Okay, and this response you will get, right? So inside the main, inside temp, whatever is the value that will be got as the response, and it will store it inside the temperature thing. Okay, so now let's see if it is just giving the same output or not. Okay, so let's check it out. So Let's quickly click on live test and check this one. So what I did, I just pasted the API key wherever we left the gap, right? So you just have to paste the API key there. Okay. So now I'll just type in Hyderabad as this is my city name. When I say get temperature, it says 293.88, right? So this 293.88, the default units of this thing is, let me just show you, it is Kelvin. Okay. So I'll show you the parameters are here. Temperature is there. So yeah, unit default is Kelvin. Okay. So that means the temperature is gonna be in Kelvin units. Here also it is given temperature thing, right? So here also it is given temperature is default is Kelvin, right? So we'll have to convert this 293.88. The output which you got is 293.88. So 293.88 Kelvin to Celsius is giving you 20.73. Yeah, today it's around 20.73 degrees Celsius only. So that means it is absolutely fetching the correct value, right? So whenever you use your link and if you fetch the data, right, this is how the data is going to be like, right? So you have the coordinates here, you have the weather information here, you have your main thing here, base station's main. So here is your temperature, okay? Don't worry, this is the JSON format and I really do not have the JSON viewer. That's why you can't see this properly, right? But yes, however, it is just gonna fetch the data like this thing, okay? So now this 293.88, it's like very hard for any user to understand, right? So what can be done on this is we can just get the formula, right, for converting Kelvin to Celsius. So let's just search for the same formula to convert Kelvin to Celsius. To convert Kelvin to Celsius, yeah. So 0 Kelvin is minus 273.15 Celsius. Okay. So now that just means that if it is so and so, um, let's say 1 Kelvin, 1 Kelvin equal to, what is the formula? C plus 273.15. Okay, see me, K minus 273.15. Okay, K minus 273.15. Let's just do the same thing, right? Now, so we'll just go to blocks and we'll do that thing. So, yes, let's quickly do the thing. To just apply the formula, we just need something like K minus 273.15, right? So whatever is the response, we got it from here. So what I'll do, I'll just go to variables and I'll create another variable saying Celsius. Okay. Now the value of this will be 0 for now. Okay. So go to variables now and get set app variable. Set app variable Celsius to, like, we'll take this, go to math, let's get minus. So this is how the Kelvin data is gonna fetch. So here the Kelvin data will be fetched, right? So now minus 273 point 273.15, right? So let's write the same thing here, 273.15. Okay. That means now we have converted this into Celsius, and whatever is the variable data, we have to show that over here. So let's get app variable Celsius and attach it over here. Okay. So this is where I have pasted the API key. Okay. That's why I'm just not showing it. Okay. So you also will have to do it here only, app ID, and then fetch the data over here. Okay. So let's just go to design first of all. So live test this one. Don't worry about this. Just ignore this thing, this red line here. Now, so enter city name. So I will just say Hyderabad, get temperature. You can see 20.73, so on, right? We can actually avoid all these things also. We can round it off. So we can round the value and we can do that. So let's see how to round off the value, right? So to round off the value, let's go to math. You can get the round thing. Okay. So just apply it over here. Round up, round down. So I think round up is gonna work out, right? Round up means it will be rounding off to the upper value. Like if it is 20.73, it will say 21. Okay. I think that's gonna work out, right? So let's just do this. Now Hyderabad, get temperature. So it says 21. Perfect. Right? So 21 degrees Celsius is fine. Now it only says 21, right? We really don't want only 21, right? We want to show 21 degrees Celsius. Okay. So then how can you do that? Just go here. Just say degree Celsius. Yeah, here is the symbol, right? What I'm just doing, I'm just copying this symbol here, Control C, come back to Thunkable. Now you have to join things. So go to text, get the join block, right? Attach it over here, attach this over here. Okay. Now this is the first value. After the value 21, we just want to give a space and then I'll paste the symbol here. Okay. Now let's just check out if this is gonna work out or not. Live test. So I'm just typing in Hyderabad, get temperature. Yes, wow, 21 degrees Celsius. That's it. Okay. So this is all about the weather app, right? Now, what if I say Mumbai, let's see what is the temperature there. Oh my God, it's 28 degrees Celsius. How about Delhi, get temperature 17 degrees Celsius. Wow, that's nice. Let's say Singapore, it's 27. Okay. Let's say Brisbane, it's 19 degrees Celsius. It's cool. And how about Melbourne? 30 degrees Celsius. Oh my God. It's very hot. How about Sydney? 17. It's very cool. And how about London? It's 9. It's very cool. So on, you can check so many things like this, right? Let's say Washington, 0 degrees Celsius. What? It's that cool. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. However, so likewise, you can check the temperature for any city, any possible city, right? So this is all about our weather app, right? Not only fetching the temperature, you can also fetch other information. So I will be giving you other details and all. We can continue the same thing in our next session also. Okay. I hope you understood how to get the weather data and how's the code for it and all, right? So this is just simple. You just have to create variables, get the URL and API key, right? So just put the URL here, just give the web API's URL as the app variable URL, right? See that your thing is properly done, right? The query thing. So this is the link, this is the city name you're getting as the input after query. Along with this, you have to join app ID with the API key. Okay. And then only you can pass in this URL into web API. This will fetch the data and it will be in response. Now, as a response, you will be getting a very big data, like something like this. Okay. So this is going to be your output. We don't want a complete thing. We only want temp, and this temp is inside main. So that's why what I'm doing is I'm just taking a variable here again because I have to convert it into Celsius. This is gonna give me Kelvin output. So that's why I'm converting Kelvin minus something. If you give, then it converts it into Celsius. So getting the property of the object from temp, from main, and the response data. So you just have to go bottoms up. So in the bottom it was temp, then the main thing was main, and then we are getting the response of it. So subtract it with 273.15, then you're gonna get the Celsius value. So that Celsius value, we actually have to round it off. So that's why I'm using round up and this Celsius value. After rounding off the value, we have to attach symbol, degree Celsius symbol. So I just got it and I've pasted it here. So that's how on the whole we are getting the output of the temperature, right? So this is all. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys, and I hope this was very much helpful, right? So we have completely seen this, how to do it and all, right? So yeah, let's meet in our next session, and thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Hope you all will like this. So please do like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel, folks. Up. So bye bye and have a great day, all.